Someone's got to.
Mm-hmm.
A clean house.
Yeah. Start fresh next time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you got to double fist it when you go just directly into this movie. Hi, Collin's double fisting it. So let's just get that out of the way. Hey, welcome back. Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. As always, my name's Paul. Next to me is Mike.
I'm double fisting Collin.
I have a video component now to this podcast, and Collin's here.
Yeah, join us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, we announced not too long ago that we're on the tubes now. The secret tubes, apparently. We're coming at you today with Can't Hardly Wait from 1998. Collin, you had not seen this?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, Mike, I know I've watched this with Mike.
This movie together, yeah.
Yeah, so a complete graduating class consisting of beautiful girls, geeks, and promising footballers assemble at a rich classmate's residence for a party. Interesting developments follow at the get-together. That is 1998's Can't Hardly Wait. There is a slew of famous people all throughout this film, a lot of times just with cameos. I also want to note the directors. We have two directors. We have Harry and Deborah. Harry Afent and Deborah Kaplan. Same directors of Josie and the Pussycats. They also wrote the Leap Year from 2009 or something like that. We have Ethan Embry back with us. The last time we saw Ethan Embry was A Far Off Place, not too far many episodes ago from 1993. Known definitely for Vegas Vacation, That Thing That You Do, A Sweet Home Alabama. Jennifer Love Hewitt, definitely Party of Five. Heartbreakers, which is a movie I would love to do on this at some point in time. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Charlie Korsmo, I think, is going to be a real interesting character or actor to note throughout this. From What About Bob, Hook, Dick Tracy. We get all these other cameos, including, Seth Green is a main character, but we get all these other cameos that we'll note all throughout. And this is all about, hey, as we noted, a graduating class celebrating at a party. So, the time is right for all of you graduating class celebrate. So if you're transitioning from high school into college and you have stumbled upon this podcast, congratulations, person.
I hope you're learning a lot.
Yeah, film studies for you. So congratulations on graduating, or if you're just in college and about to take a summer break, welcome to our summer transition into summer movies and just a lot of fun things that we'll be doing. Did anyone have any kind of killer graduation high school party? I did not.
You could have fit the entirety of my high school. There were more people at this party than I went to high school with. So no, we did not.
Did you do anything memorable?
Yeah, I think I probably got drunk in the woods with Chris.
Hey, Chris, can you write us and confirm that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of my experience was similar. Just go to a party, get a little too drunk, and try not to drive home.
Yeah, I didn't drink in high school, so... Well, I tried maybe some beers and stuff. I just didn't really drink, so it would have not been a party like this for me. Did anyone go to any kind of crazy parties? Like senior year or anything like this? Because Mike's right. I went to a much larger graduating class. Jeremy's not joining us today, but Jeremy is part of my graduating class. We had tons of people, but a party of this magnitude, I have not been to a party of this size. This was, I would assume, 100 plus people at someone's house. Throughout the night, I would say in and out, there was over 100 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this had to have been a huge mansion.
I've never been to in my life a party that big.
Well, then we see the backyard or maybe part of the front yard, and there's 25 more people out there doing stuff. I'm like, yeah, I've never been to something like that. The parties I'd go to, maybe capped off at 20 people, tops.
Right.
Anything, Collin? Any ragers in Denver?
Yeah, after the summer between graduating high school and the first year of college was a handful. That was the party year for me. A handful of cops coming and breaking things up. But that was one summer a long time ago.
Well, how many people were at that party?
Each one was a pretty packed house. So it was, a handful of parties over the course of the summer, and each one was packed and pretty rowdy. But none of the houses were big enough to fit all these
I was going to
people.
say, what does packed mean? Like
the density was there.
So how many people would you guess were at this party?
Oh, I don't know, maybe like 50 to 75.
So
That's
like
a big party,
yeah,
man.
dude. So like half of this movie is
Yeah.
what you're saying, or more.
Yeah, definitely you'd show up and there'd be, you'd know 20 or 30 people, and there'd be just as many people that you.
I don't know 20 or 30
know.
people now. So.
Right.
You know a lot of people right when you graduate high school, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I guess, and that's what this movie shows us too. This movie is kind of interesting going back for me for a lot of ways. I mean, we'll cover if like you guys like or dislike this movie, but the big thing to note is, I mean, we're just shy of 30 years in all this. We're about like 25 years ago. This was a graduating class. And the weird thing is, yes, the biggest thing to note is going to be the lack of technology. Like phones to our level just don't exist. No one's really referencing the internet. Just there's a serious lack of technology in comparison to what we have. And I think that's kind of what makes this party a little more unique. I mean, good God, the main character, Ethan, or Ethan Embry, who plays Preston, he's writing a letter.
Right. Yeah.
Like a physical letter that he's written a handful of times. Also, I want to note, wow, Ethan Embry, we talked about him in A Far Off Place. This actor is just absolutely 100% different in this movie. Part of the trivia I read was he's never seen this movie. I mean, this is IMDb trivia. Take it with a grain of salt. That he said he never saw this movie in full since he filmed it, and he doesn't remember any of it because he was stoned during all of his scenes.
That tracks. He seemed like he was a little out of it.
But he is just infinitely different than his character in A Far Off Place. We talked about him, and his metamorphosis as this bratty young kid in A Far Off Place, turning into like a trustworthy, humbled person who is like a part of like a party trying to cross a desert.
Yeah.
So we see like different shades of him in a different movie. None of that is here. I mean,
Yeah. Nor is there any transformation.
No.
He ends this movie the way it starts, as a wussy little wiener.
With terrible fashion.
Yeah.
Jeremy, that wussy little wiener comment had to be for you.
There you go.
Think about the picture Mike sent you, the Wienermobile. Yeah.
Mike's up sending wiener pics.
Yeah, me and my wiener picks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've said numerous times, if you're a listener, reach out to us. We could get isolated vocal tracks, I guess, these wiener picks. Mm-hmm. All the things that are going to shut down this podcast and put Mike in jail.
I'll give you the wiener picks for money. It's funny you say that. One thing with the technology that you mentioned, one thing that I thought to myself repeatedly is like, it's a good thing none of these kids have camera phones, or else no one here is getting into college or like will ever have a government job.
No, that's honestly, Mike, that's one of the things I was thinking of. I was like, any kid, I would assume, going to a party now is going to be like, oh, bro, like we got some drinks, just like this movie. Mm-hmm. But everyone's going to be snapping off a bunch of videos and pictures, and like a bunch of dumb idiots, they're going to upload it without any kind of like privacy settings. And people are going to go see that and be like, okay, cool. You just graduated. You're 18 years old and you're doing like bong hits and probably like recreational drugs and various other things.
Yeah. I know that happens. Like, and I was a pretty stupid kid. But I don't, even if I had access to the technology, I don't think my first instinct would have been to like photograph myself and my friends doing crimes.
Well, I mean, there's always the moments where someone would bust out like, I'm saying like very rarely. And I used one like once or twice. It's just, I didn't like taking it out. I like a small video camera. But I wouldn't take it out for, hours on end. And there was always a couple moments, like maybe a small low-key party or at a bar, I would see someone like take it out. And I feel everyone was kind of in the know. There was like a secret, I'm not doing anything crazy. You're not filming this. Agreed. Okay.
Right.
Like for like 2 minutes. Like,
yeah,
this is a good time. Like, oh, talk to the camera. And everyone puts away everything. And they're like, yeah, like I'm having a drink. I'm of sober mind. And then they put the camera away and the party like comes back out.
Right.
Like, and everyone's like, okay, like, please don't do that. I mean, we knew one of Mike and I's friends, like he had a camera, like not a video camera, but a like photo camera. And he would take it out every 5 seconds. I remember there were points in time at bars, like people were like, you got to stop.
Yeah.
Like,
that was obnoxious.
yeah, because like people felt like kind of pretty much uncomfortable at a time. But I just feel that's the fare of the day, that people were like, I'm constantly just having my phone go and stuff like this. I'm like, oh my God, this party would have been shut down immediately because it's going to take one parent to be like, I'm going to check my kid's Instagram. Whoa, my God, this party's up the street. This is at the Connor house. Like, we're going to go up there and like shut this shit down immediately.
Yeah. How did this chick get roped into throwing this party?
I feel there's always one. There is a junior high party that I do have kind of a small recollection of. So no beer or anything like this. I just remember this girl's like basement got trashed. Right. So it was like this level and I did not participate. I just remember people were like, who cares if you kick drinks on the floor? Like the carpet was like stained with like punches and sodas and like people were just like taking CDs and like using them as coasters. I'm like, that's kind of an exaggeration, but like it was just anything goes. And I remember at the end of the party, like this girl's basically crying. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, well, the whole movie, it's like this chick's running around yelling at people. Like, this is your party. What did you expect was going to happen?
So this is kind of my take on this. So one, there's a lot of unnamed people in this movie. Like Ethan Embry is Preston. We'll note that. But a lot of other people just have nicknames. Jason Segel has his first acting cameo or acting debut in this movie. He is just listed as Watermelon Guy. So because he only has like a 30-second conversation about Scooby-Doo and Velma. But my thought would be this, that this girl was probably super trustworthy. She probably had really great grades. She's never done anything wrong. And she's like somewhat popular. Like she's pretty. She, I don't know, is affluent. She probably dresses well. That's why I say like there's money in the background. So even surface level, she might not be like the most popular girl, but like mid-level popular and probably smart. So her parents are like, oh, you've never done anything wrong. You want to host some kind of party. Yeah, that's cool because my baby girl's graduating. And dumb parents leave town. And this girl's like, everyone's going to remember the good time I threw with all the punch and drinks and etc. And within 5 minutes, the hellscape becomes the reality.
In her defense, she did lay down the ground rules of like no going upstairs and no going into this one room. And that was generally respected.
Sure, yeah.
Which for a teen movie is bizarre.
But I mean, she's getting upset that people are spilling drinks and doing weird stuff and like
lighting her house on fire.
Yeah.
Tracking dog poo in the house.
Right, like you should have planned for this.
Yeah.
I mean, also, yeah, like, I don't care what grade level you're at. You have alcohol in abundance, like, things are going to get wild. Like, a bunch of inexperienced drinkers, like, even beyond that, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm not going to defend underage drinking, but I'm just like...
I will.
It's great. Other things you could write Mike about on the side. Yeah, I'm just like... You have to assume like a few to a two like beers, like not even like hard drinks are probably going to get some people sick because they've never really had drinks. This is going to be William's experience that he thinks he could drink a little more than he can, but like he can't do anything. On a side note, when we get to William, absolute favorite storyline of this entire movie for me is William's. William is the lead nerd.
The kid from Hook.
Yeah. He's got the highlight for me. Yeah, I mean, basically, this is the stereotypical high school movie. But I really wanted to do this one now because it's graduation time. So, if you love someone, write them a handwritten letter, revise it 50 times, and hand it to them in this upcoming week. When you listen to this podcast, I want it to inspire you to go and do that. Not just to, the person you love, just to anyone. Go on 16th Street Mall and just hand them out like Valentines.
You'll find a lot of people to love at the mall.
You will. they love you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love. Too
much love.
Yeah, there's way too much love.
Yeah.
Well, we basically get the graduation is there, and we hear like the gossip mill that, did you hear that Mike and Amanda broke up? Mike and Amanda. And this is going through the school. I read somewhere that those are the writers and directors of the movie. I thought that was kind of fun. Just saying all the gossipy things. Well, they graduate, and we quickly learn that Mike and Amanda are the hot item of the school. They're in the popular crowd, and a big breakup happened. And we meet Preston, who's Ethan Embry, and his friend Denise. They're really good friends, and he's highlighting that he's going to go to this party. It's going to be his last hurrah because he's going to this writers conference or this like group thing that he signed up for with Kurt Vonnegut, who's his hero. So he's going to do that, and he's leaving the next day, which seems very unlikely that, like, you've graduated on a Friday, but Saturday you're leaving town. Like that just seems weird. But side note, okay, maybe that's happening. And Denise really does not want to go to this party. I feel for Denise because I would be Denise in this. I'm not saying I wouldn't go to a party, but I wouldn't go to this party. Oh my God, I wouldn't go to this party. But Denise does get roped into going, and we get a little flashback of why Preston thinks he and Amanda are, fated to be together. It was all on this one day where he's never been late for school, and he was running late for school. And at the very same time that he arrived late at school, Amanda came in. She was a new student, but she had to check in with the principal or whoever, and they were separated. But he noticed her immediately. But then he got to his class. And who was fated to be put in that same class? It was Amanda. Oh my God. And as Preston is eating his strawberry Pop Tart, what does she take out? A strawberry Pop Tart. And the teacher said, hey, this is a new student. Does anyone want to show her around? And as Ethan is saying yes, wholeheartedly, Mike says, yeah, I'll show her around.
Mike fucking Dexter.
Mike Dexter. Mike Dexter looks like an a-hole. This dude is super well cast. I feel kind of bad for this guy. I've seen this guy in a couple other things. My wife watched Nurse Jackie. I know he's like a prominent character. I saw a couple episodes. I saw another show with him. I'm sure this dude's a real nice dude, but he is super well cast as this dude looks like a total jerk. Mike Dexter then in this flashback takes Amanda, and somehow they hit it off and date for the next 4 years. I want to super highlight some significance in this. You dated for 4 years in high school? Holy God. That doesn't happen. I mean, that is super rare. One, that you found someone at freshman year and you dated all throughout. I think that's super rare. And a 4-year relationship in high school. Holy God. Most people don't have a 4-year relationship on their track record as adults.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That was my high school career, though.
4 years?
Yeah.
You dated someone for 4 years?
Yeah, so freshman year of high school. I mean, probably towards the end of freshman year. It wasn't like first day. But the girl I mentioned last time who we watched Romancing the Stone together on Betamax, we started dating freshman year in high school, and we dated until we were 20.
Why is she not listening to this?
I don't know.
These are all dedications to her. Our one listener.
I don't think she gives a fuck anymore.
This has been Mike's ulterior motive the entire time, that it would take over 100 episodes for you to listen.
Yeah.
Amy?
Yeah.
Amy!
When we had the thing in the Westward, she texted me. She's like, that's really cool. It was nice to hear your voice. So I'm assuming she listened to a clip of one episode at one point. I imagine probably not since then.
You talked about the kind of photos you send in text messages.
The wiener photos?
Maybe she wanted to see what kind of technology you had. I'm going to phrase it like that.
I don't think that's the case. She's a respectable person, with a husband and a child.
Amy, hear me out.
Yeah.
Ulterior motives. But thanks again for having Mike watch Romancing the Stone.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I dated someone throughout high school. I don't think it's that rare. Also, there's nothing else to do in Maine, so.
His date watch Romancing
You
the
find
Stone.
someone. There's, there were 20 kids in my school. You find one, you're like, okay, you're sticking it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's what you put on the Valentine's Day card.
You and I have joked about this, just looking at old high school colleagues, Facebooks, and how weird it is. A startling amount of people that I went to high school with date people that we went to high school with.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Just can't find anyone
and
better.
have never left the town that we lived in. Yeah.
I guess that's what's happening here. So maybe it's not all too rare. I don't feel that was happening at my high school.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I think you're right. I think it is super rare. I think Mike is just the edge case.
Sure.
I am thinking if you were in a small. See, here's the thing: they're not in a smaller town. They're in anywhere suburbia, like California. Come on, but. To Mike's credit, if you are in a smaller town, think about all the small towns out there, this would make more sense. So in the movie, my argument would be there's no way this is happening. 4 years, come on. They're as Mike noted, their graduating class is 1,000 times the amount Mike's graduating class was.
Right.
Sure.
But if you're in a smaller town and there's 40 people, that makes a lot more sense. I'm not, and it sounds like more negative, but
No, at the end of the movie, Amanda kind of narrates what some of the reasoning, like,
oh yeah,
dating this person kind of became, he was the popular kid, like,
it made sense the freshman year.
it became like her personality, and
Yeah.
she didn't, it's how she gained social capital by dating this person. And she in some ways, like, kind of didn't have an identity beyond that and was afraid to give it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately psychologically the problem of the relationship of Mike and Amanda. But she also highlights, and I would assume too, give her some credit, give anyone credit. Like, she was probably now looking back at the last 4 years, and she's thought, freshman year, any freshman in high school is kind of a dummy. Myself, when I was a freshman, Mike, Collin, everyone. Like, you're just naive, you're inexperienced. So to throw that out, she also highlights when she's talking to her weirdo cousin during all of this, that, he's the same guy. Like, I started dating him. He was mooning people at the drive-thru. He was pulling shenanigans. Okay, you're a freshman. Again, she's naive. This is what people are doing. They're like 15, 14 years old. But now that they're 18, she's like, he's still doing this stuff. And I think first and foremost, Mike is totally correct. The fact that Amanda's like, his identity was mine and I don't have an identity, that's like the biggest problem. Problem two is she's like, I'm trying to grow, expand, and learn about myself, and this dude is literally not aged up since he was a freshman. So this dude's a goof, and like, I don't want to goof. I need to find out who I am, but also with someone who's way more adult than like this child that I'm dating, which can't hardly wait.
No, she
Did
can't.
he broke up with her though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, so the idea that we get throughout the movie is he thinks he's going to be this big stud, Mike Dexter, that is, when he goes to college. That he thinks he plays football, he's gonna, people are gonna be like, oh my God, you're so good looking, you're such a great athlete, and this is just gonna roll and magnify his coolness. He's really humbled throughout the movie because this is obviously just not going to take place. Before we go into this movie, something I just really thought of, like as I was actively watching this movie, is is there any advice that now that we're all older, if there is a listener or someone's like, I'm a dad of a kid who's going to go to college, if someone's out there is listening, is there advice that you would give to someone who is leaving college or leaving high school now that you're looking back? And I'm going to open it because this is the advice I have. I'm going to piggyback off of something that Matt Stone said in a documentary. And it was, high school's nothing. Like, if you think high school was like everything and it was, a defining moment for you, like, no one is going to give a shit about high school or going back to it. And, within a year or less, or maybe a little more, all of that will fade into memories. Jeremy has noted on this podcast numerous times, he's like, I don't have a lot of memories of high school. I think I bring some things up. He's like, yeah, I do remember that, but like, he doesn't remember like a ton. I totally get it. I'm not saying his memory's shot or anything. I'm just saying it's not a place he dips back into. And, I think every now and then about a moment, but like, living in the world of high school was like a bubble that as soon as you're out totally bursts and you are not that person again. And you're not going to see most of those people again. Any advice you would give to anyone?
I would say, if like in context of this movie, don't be the X-Files.
No.
If they had, kind of bailed their plan and just went to the party, they would have had as good of a time as everyone else had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All they had to do was just go inside.
So what you're saying is like, live your life. Like, don't be restricted by some kind of identity that's not yours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't be a fucking nerd, is what he's saying,
Yeah.
I think.
If all the cool kids were inside.
But I like
drinking,
the nerds. So are you
you're
saying
out there like a big dork.
So you're saying, Mike, if you are a nerd, own it and go into that party?
Right.
Hell yeah.
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 Dude,
Then be
the
a nerd.
nerds
Yeah.
crushed in the party.
Yeah. William Lichter
Yeah.
is by far my favorite character, and we're going to get to him in 1 second. So going back to note a lot of the movies this guy has been in. So Charlie Korsmo, William Lichter was in Hook, Dick Tracy, What About Bob? He basically was done acting from what I read, and he came back and did one more role, and it was this. And he knew this, like going into it, that this would be, from my understanding, his last time acting, because he was simultaneously accepted to MIT.
He needed the money from this movie to pay for MIT.
Dope. Yeah. And now he is a lawyer and works for the U.S. Missile Defense. I looked him up. He is a professor and teaches law, I believe, and does all these other things and won awards. People should look this guy up.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, super cool, because, in a world of child actors, and I don't feel he's a child actor in this, but Hook, What About Bob, Dick Tracy, definitely a child actor, and, the history of that, I chuckle, and I just say that I chuckle almost uncomfortably, because it is just wrought with awfulness and terrible stories. So to learn about a child actor who's like, yeah, I did a handful of films, they're super notable, people love them, and then I did all this awesome stuff with my life, seems super awesome. So way to go on this guy. And as I said, he absolutely has my favorite story arc start to finish in this movie.
He's the only character in this movie that I don't hate.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't even like certain members of the band?
Yeah, the band's okay, I guess.
So main characters, is moreover what you're highlighting.
Yeah, that's not to say that I didn't enjoy this movie. Don't take it as that, but like, this is one of those where I have a hard time relating to it, because I think all the characters suck, and the situation is something that I have no like context for.
Yeah, admittedly, I can't relate to any of these characters. There are shades of characters. Like, everyone has, like, a million different shades in them. Like, I could relate to a shade here and there, but there's not, like, one character I'm like, that was totally me in high school or whatever.
Right.
The mentality that William has, I could definitely relate more to this. But being, like, shunned and abused like this, I hope no one goes through this. I don't know, this would be a different story today.
Yeah.
William still is not a great character.
No, he's not. But in the sea of the rest of the characters of this movie, like, his friends are basically like sexually assaulting people.
Yes.
So
yes,
like that's not super chill.
Well,
he left them out there all night.
Yeah.
So the characters we're looking at, William Lichter is one of them, and his background story is Mike Dexter has basically just been a huge bully his entire life. He is just hell-bent on revenge. He wants to go to this party. He wants to make Mike look like a total asshole and to let everyone know this is the real Mike and everyone should stop listening to him. I totally dig the backstory. I, again, love some of the dialogue between him, and he's got these two nerdy friends. I don't mean that in a disparaging way.
No, you do. It's fine.
They're just like stereotypical. Like, they're both wearing X-Files t-shirts. They're talking in nasally voices. Everyone's a stereotype in this movie. These are supposed to be like the nerd clique.
They built a pretty sweet Back to the Future style miniature to explain what the plot of their revenge was.
I was just hoping someone was going to be like, I'm sorry, it's not up to scale.
It's not up to scale.
But yeah, so he's hell-bent on this. Then, we're basically being introduced to everyone. We met Preston and Denise. We've kind of seen Mike and Amanda to an extent. We've met the nerd crew. Now we're meeting Seth Green, Kenny. You don't like Kenny at all in any of this, Mike?
No, Kenny's fine, but like, I don't... In a movie, you want to like root for somebody. I didn't want anyone in this movie to get what they wanted. Like, I wanted them all to fail. But maybe that's the point.
How about this? I actually don't disagree with you. I don't wish that upon Preston. I do.
I liked him the least.
I feel Preston. I feel Preston should not have gotten a happy ending, but I don't think he actively did anything. Like,
I think he was a pretty creepy offender.
Yeah.
Maybe
Amber is the only reasonable character in this thing.
Which one's Amber?
The main girl.
Oh, Jennifer Love
Amanda.
Hewitt?
Amanda. Yeah. Okay.
Who is Amber?
The character I made up. It's way better than all these characters.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't take much.
Yeah. Well, we'll go through it. So Kenny is stereotypical 90s. He's into hip hop culture. He has altered the way he talks. His friends altered the way that they talk.
He's got dope goggles.
He's wearing goggles. These are super white boys. I do like that we meet them at basically a 7-Eleven. In the background, we get one of the guys from American Pie. He's just shoplifting all throughout the movie. He's taking things, doesn't have any lines. doing some fun there.
Oh,
so,
who is the Shermanator?
Yeah,
okay.
Shermanator's just stealing stuff, which is fun. I bet that guy's super fun. He always plays like these zany characters.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Last time we saw him was She's All That. He was one of the bullies. Had to eat pubic hair off some pizza.
That's
right.
right.
Super gross.
I feel like every high school movie in the 90s
had him.
He is in playing basically the same character.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's totally same character in October Sky.
Oh,
shit.
I haven't seen that in ages, yeah.
He ate pubes in that one, too, I think.
What? In all the movies, is that part of the contract?
Yeah.
That's the worst contract.
He wrote it in. I don't know. He wanted that.
It's in his writer.
Yeah. Red Skittles, plate of pubes.
Well, everyone is now just like highlighting like they're pre-gaming before going to a party. Everyone's getting ready. While at 7-Eleven, Kenny highlights that he has a backpack of just sex. He has
his sex kit.
Sex chest.
Let's talk about the sex chest really quickly, because there's just some stuff in there that's like bananas. So, okay, even if that was kind of your MO, like I roll up with some sexy stuff, you would think like condoms, lube, various other things.
That's where it should have stopped. Those are the only two things potentially.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, but now you have like 3 like Playboy magazines, and you have like
a miniature Kama Sutra.
Yeah, like you have like books and literature. Like, no, man, like,
right.
Like that's weird. And also, he drove. Why are you carrying the backpack around everywhere with you? Just like keep it in your car.
Yeah, well, there's no quicker way to get a woman to open up than being like, let me just dip into my backpack of sex toys.
Right, like even at this like party, do you think? I mean, although the situation somewhat unfolds where they talk about going to this pool house. I mean, there's so many people at this party. You're probably not going to a private room to have sex, but you have a huge car, and you could drive away.
Oh yeah, he had like an Escalade or something.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was super weird for me. Well, they get to the party. Denise and Preston are at the party. The nerds, 2 of them stay behind. They're like, trust no one, and I do like my favorite line is, in this light, you somewhat look like you resemble David Duchovny. That's what one of the nerds says to William to give him confidence. He's like, thank you.
But yeah, because they spend the party sitting on the roof waiting for Mike to come out.
Yes. And they're very bored while they're. But they did go over the game plan with some Kiss dolls and a miniature. As
I don't want to be Grand Moff Tarkin.
I love those nerds. Yeah. So. Here's I feel almost the biggest plot hole of the movie for me. So everyone's at the party. We get Melissa Joan Hart. Side note, I love her as a cameo. She's the big nerd, like sign my yearbook. She doesn't have much more beyond that. But yeah, I think I read somewhere she was like simultaneously filming one of the earlier seasons of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Kind of just fun to see her running around, and no one wants to sign her yearbook. But you kind of meet everyone. There's a band setting up. 2 members of Clueless are in that band, which is kind of awesome. There's just tons of cameos. Here's the plot hole, that I'm trying to get to is, so Amanda, Jennifer Love Hewitt, like the star of the movie, shows up. Duh, like you're going to see her. But her character, Amanda, shows up. Why the hell did Amanda even go to this party? She looks super put off by everyone. And I understand. So let me base this in reality. Mike has broken up with her, and she's like, good, I want this. You're going to find this out really quick. I never wanted to be with Mike this long. You'll hear kind of a backstory, et cetera, et cetera. Mike's wrong for me. I'm going to start college. I'm moving on. I'm going to find myself. Cool. She opens the door. Everyone sees her at the party. She's super frowny faced and looks like she doesn't want to be there. Why did she even go to this party?
I mean, my take on it is that, again, her whole identity has been wrapped up in dating this one person. I think it's like a keeping up appearances thing. She feels she has to go to this party because that's what's expected of her. Even without Mike Dexter by her side, she's still trying to play the role of the popular jock girlfriend, even though she's not that anymore. She felt she had to go to that. That's my take.
Absolutely. It's high school. It's totally one of those, I can't let him win. I
Right.
can't not go and let him know that he wins.
Well, that's kind of why I'm asking. Do you feel that it was a moment where she's like, I can't let him win? I kind of understand the
maybe.
appearances thing, but see, the reason I'm asking that is there's some conflicting things that happen. I agree with both of what you're saying. But when she rolls up, she's even surprised that her friends are even talking to her. They're like, oh, I'm really sorry. And she's like, oh, like you're talking to me. Like there's like kind of like she's surprised. You see it. And I was like, I don't like, did you got no one talk to this girl like before this? Like this is super bizarre.
Maybe she was assuming they would have all taken Mike's side and she would have been like, I don't know.
Okay, so this is me going back. If she did assume that, I sure as hell wouldn't have gone to this party. That would have been just super awkward for me.
Well, sure, but again, that's letting him win.
Yeah. And she showed up kind of early enough that maybe she was just going to test the waters.
Oh, I mean, you think she might have bounced like,
Yeah.
like, all these people hate me. Bye.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the opposite happened. Everyone there wanted to fuck her.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah. Though that. Yeah. That's the kind of party you got right there.
Yeah.
I don't really know a lot of Jennifer Love Hewitt, so I know everyone thinks she was like sexy hot time growing up, but I honestly only saw her in a couple episodes of Party of Five. I really only saw Party of Five because it was like one of two channels I got without cable on a TV, so I was able to like see it here and there. And then I've seen I Know What You Did Last Summer, I don't know, like once or twice in my life. Heartbreakers is a movie I watched with my wife not too long ago. We should totally do that. It has the Leots in it, and Sigourney Weaver. Super fun. I never saw it until recently, but growing up, were you guys like Jennifer Love Hewitt, or you were like, I don't really care or know this person? Because for me, I was like, I remember her when she was young, and I saw this other movie and then didn't see her.
Nope, didn't really know her.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Party of Five. I mean, I don't think I saw this until you and I watched it maybe like 10 plus years ago. I don't know that I would have known her from anything.
Yeah, I mean, I say those things too. It's just that's part of, I think the interesting part, and especially one of the reasons I love doing this podcast is, there's just huge gaps. Like Mike has noted, some of the movies he rented, he's like, I didn't have access to them until I was living in certain locations. Clearly, we're living in a non-everything streaming world. So Mike's renting certain movies that I saw at different times, that Collin saw at different times, and various other things. Certain actors, Jennifer Love Hewitt, we see here and there for a second, but other people were probably like, oh my God, I saw her in like 55 movies. I noted this when we talked about Kirsten Dunst, kind of the same thing, that I was like, oh yeah, I saw her when she was like a kid. Like,
right.
She's like up until 12, 13, maybe like a movie where she was like 16, and then like I never saw her again. But if you look on her IMDb, she's done tons of stuff. I just haven't really seen it. So
yeah. Like, I knew Jennifer Love Hewitt as a name of a person who was hot.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I to this day I've never seen I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
yeah. I think I've seen her in a handful of episodes of Ghost Whisperer, which is some TV show she did.
See,
is it?
I don't remember.
Expand on that. Is this like a Discovery Channel show where
No.
Jennifer Love Hewitt looks for ghosts? Because I would watch that.
I think it's like a cop thing where she can like talk to ghosts and help solve murders. I don't really remember, dude. It was forever ago. It was awesome.
My
Okay.
wife and I just watched the episode of Community where one of the guys thinks he could get into your mind. I just robbed your mind.
Your mind.
It's something to do with a hang glider. I know there's a hang glider down.
I'm telling you, dude. That dude is Jeremy to me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like, dude, look at him. It's Jeremy. That whole episode, he's Jeremy.
I like that the one teacher brings Shirley aside and is like, just between me and you, I was thinking
about hang glider.
I just robbed your mind, man. Who knows? But the party's kicking off. This party seems fun, honestly, as a non-party going person. It seems like everyone kind of is broken off into the factions and you could do whatever you want. That's the party I like. Mm-hmm. If you want to drink, people are in the kitchen. If you want to do, keg stands and stuff, some people are outside. If you don't want to do those things, people seem to be chilling in a living room or kind of on a porch area. So it seems like there's something for everyone. I hate this for Denise. Like or dislike Denise. She is just like abandoned within 3 minutes upon getting there. So Preston has written a handwritten letter that he wants to give to Amanda. It expresses all of his feelings, how they were destined to find one another, etc., etc. He apparently is a very talented writer, so that's going to be a nice little push for him at the end. He sees, and well, first of all, he knows Mike Dexter is no longer dating her. He wants to deliver this letter. He's revised it 1,000,000 times, apparently. He's confided this in Denise, his best friend. It turned out they dated once, I guess whimsically, for a week in 8th grade, but they've been best friends ever since. She's like, okay, dude, if you're going to give her the letter, you've got to do it today. He said, okay. And then he's like, I'll see you later. You could get, a ride home. She's like, I'll find a ride home. 3 minutes in the party. And I do feel bad for her because of this. She didn't want to be there. She clearly just wants to be with like at least one person. I feel everyone in this room could at least be like, I've gone to a party or a gathering where I kind of didn't really want to go, but because I was with a friend or two, I was more willing to do it. Now imagine that friend or two immediately ditches you. That sucks.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer.
That sucks.
Yeah, I would have.
Like, that's what you get for having a shitty friend like Preston, who sucks.
Yeah.
I would have left if I were Denise pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I probably would have just like if I were her and this was me and her situation, she's kind of antisocial. It's really noted that she's kind of snippy about everyone. She really comes down on everyone. Even she sees Seth Green on the side before they part ways, with Preston that is, and she's already making fun of Seth Green, who is Kenny. And yes, Kenny has a lot to make fun of throughout this movie, but even Preston says, like, do you have to come down on everyone? Like, meaning just like maybe chill out once in your life. It's probably going to be the last party you're at during high school. So
yeah.
I do agree with Preston on this end. The ditching, that sucks. Like, if this was halfway through the party or we're hanging out for a couple hours or she was like very aware of the situation, but it is no joke.
No,
like they walk
right
in the front door and he's like, bye.
Well, he heard Barry Manilow on the radio earlier and he told him to do this.
I also don't really understand, like, what's his plan? Like,
he doesn't have one because he's an idiot.
Well, like, why does he have to leave her right now? I think the plan should have been like, if this was me and Collin, I'd be like, be my wingman. When you see an opportunity and she's alone, I'll go talk to her. She's clearly talking to 3 other people right now. She looks somewhat distraught too when Preston sees her. But if I were to see Collin, I'd be like, just be my wingman. If you see an opportunity, that's when I'm going to go. And that's when I have to leave you kind of quickly. And I think Collin probably be like, I understand. So right. Preston's talking to a lot of other people throughout this party.
Yeah.
He didn't have to leave Denise.
No.
Nope.
Come on, Denise.
And his whole plan here is pretty stupid.
William Lichter has a good plan. He's got a drink card that he thinks he can mathematically size his weight versus the ratio of amount of drinks that he's able to consume. Yeah. 1 beer into this mix, and he's already half.
Well,
drunk.
that beer was bad, guys. Whoa, guys, the beer's bad.
I forgot about that. So he initially goes to a keg, and some guys are
like, "Is this beer?
Yeah, is this beer? Yeah, bro, it's beer." And he drinks it and spits it ever. The beer's bad. The beer's gone bad. Everyone's like, the beer tastes pretty good. He's like, oh no, it's fine. That's fine.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah. But things get better for William. I love William. Come on. How can you not root for William in some ways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to root for William?
I don't know what I'm rooting for.
Well, I mean, Mike Dexter has treated him like shit his whole life. Like,
that's because he's a fucking nerd.
He didn't deserve this. Like,
he instantly became cool, and then instead of going and getting his friends and helping them also be cool, he left them out there to rot.
Right, because the minute he started being cool, he realized that his friends are fucking nerds.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be on the roof.
I think the amount of drinks, too, made him
No one
forget.
likes nerds, you guys.
I love the nerds. Come on. Favorite storyline. And in real life, this guy seems like he kind of played himself and did awesome things. So good job.
Yeah.
He needed the motivation.
He did.
I do like throughout the party, there's so many people don't have names. At one moment, Amanda does get up and leave, and she goes to this couch. And simultaneously, Preston runs into like an old schoolmate, and they've clearly known each other since elementary school. And this guy is just rattling off like the most embarrassing things about Preston. He's like, remember this one time? Remember this one time? And I do like the one time. So the story, and I have to slowly listen to it, is Preston is about to deliver the letter to Amanda, but Amanda is kind of side eavesdropping on into this, and she's smirking as she's hearing the story. This guy's like, yeah, man, remember that one time you like threw up in your backpack and you tried to like ditch it in the woods? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me. He's like, of course it was you. Because then the principal got it and they had to bring it to every classroom and then identify each student until it turned out to be you. I do like Preston just gets up and leaves. just like ends it. Like doesn't even say anything, just like walks off. And then, yeah, that kind of dismantles the opportunity that Preston had to talk to Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a good thing because she wouldn't have been receptive to this at this point.
No.
He saved him.
I guess.
With his vomit backpack story.
But then he says like some rude stuff. He's like, I don't remember exactly what he says. He's
like, you remember that time when someone ruined my chance with some girl?
Well, that just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't remember that. He's like, it was now. I was like, I'm going to remember this, man. And then we get Kenny. So Kenny is just sitting there by himself. Even his friends are like, dude, this guy sucks. So Kenny's like, I'm gonna make sure I hook up with some girl here. And some girl that he's eavesdropping on is telling her friend, my boyfriend, broke up with me and I want to just make him jealous. I'll make out and hook up with the next guy who even looks at me. And he falls out of his chair and he's like, hey, what's going on? Like, girl, you're too fine to be crying.
That's a way better line than he said, I think.
Yeah. And the girlfriend kind of gives the like half and half, like he's okay enough. And she's like, okay, like I'll go hook up with you in the pool house. He's like, oh, girl, let me just go freshen up. I'm going to go to this bathroom and then I'll meet you in the pool house. And the girl running the party is freaking out. She's like, oh my God, people are defacing like the paintings on my wall. Kenny blames it on the foreign exchange student. And she's like, for this, I'll let you go to the bathroom upstairs, but only you. And he rushes off and she gives a warning. Hey, like the bathroom door sticks. Be careful. He doesn't hear it and he runs up. Then he goes upstairs and just does some weird ass shit.
He's doing like sex push-ups and he's stretching out.
So yeah, he opens the sex backpack, and as Mike noted, there's like Kama Sutra books and other things. So he's trying to practice weird positions by mounting his leg on one on a sink and one on a bathtub, and looking at a book, and then he gets water all over his pants and tries to dry it off with a hairdryer, but he's got a chain wallet that overheats. He's freaking out, and then Denise walks in.
It's a whole thing, man.
And then she shuts the door accidentally behind her, and the door handle breaks off, and they are trapped in that bathroom together.
Mm-hmm. Seth Green, a little bit before this, does have, I think, my favorite line in the movie. When he's trying to, like, swoop on some other girl, but he gets, like, sidelined by... It might have even been the same guy that was talking to Preston. But he, like, interrupts his flow. He's like, why you gotta be wasting my flavor?
Flavor comes up again, Mike.
Yeah.
He says, "You can't. It's not my fault. You couldn't handle the flavor."
Couldn't handle the flavor. I think we should bring this back.
It's funny because I wanted that to be Collin's line. I want Collin to be the one highlighting who does not have the flavor.
Okay. Well,
are you kidding me? I couldn't say that because you couldn't handle my flavor.
Shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We need some shirts.
Can we hashtag that? Yeah.
We need a lot of shirts.
Hashtag Collin's flavor.
Yes. All of those things. While they're locked in the bathroom, we're getting like a lot of quick cuts to various other people. The two nerds that were left behind in the X-Files shirts, they're on the roof just playing Star Wars with flashlights like, you're not my father, no. Tons of crazy music going on. We get Tone Loc's Funky Cold Medina is playing. I probably rattled through other music that I forgot to mention, but I got Run DMC's Tricky is playing all throughout the movie, or It's Tricky.
When the nerd is warning everyone about the beer, I like cold beverages.
I heard that. Yeah, the soundtrack, I don't want to say is good, but the soundtrack is fun. Oh yeah, appropriate and fun. Like, I mean, it's also a house party in the 90s, so yeah, it's totally fun.
There's probably 10 minutes of Smash Mouth. 12
oh, there's a lot of Smash Mouth, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's too much Smash Mouth.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as if that's even possible.
Yeah, so this is... it's totally possible. This is a weird scene. So we are introduced to Amanda's cousin. I don't know if he even has a name, but he certainly does have a silk shirt on. Mm-hmm. He sits down and oddly puts his arm around her and is like, we're related. You should have told me these things. And she's like, we're like second cousins. He's like, I know, that's why we should be talking. But eventually she does highlight like some serious problems, as Mike noted very early on, which is good. And I think that's good to establish her character. She feels she has no identity. She feels that it was all him. He's immature. He hasn't grown up. She wants to find herself. All the things we've said before. And he's like, yeah, like that's crazy. So you do see like a different side to her. It's kind of interesting. That's like the one serious thread kind of throughout the movie. Does it come off at the end? Like maybe a little, but I mean, this movie is kind of loosely threaded together.
I mean, if any character shows any kind of growth, it's her, but only by a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And so unrealistically, like the one night you just discovered yourself, like, no, like that didn't happen.
Well, this movie takes place over the course of a party.
Right, and
basically, so there's not a lot of time for people to be learning life lessons, but like she comes to some realizations.
Well, the only thing I want to note is like it's so wrapped up at the end that it's like for you to get out of a 4-year relationship in the next 10 hours to like almost basically be in another one. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Well, it's also counter to everything that she said.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like I want to find myself in an hour. Mm-hmm. like the 24-hour clock starts ticking down.
Right.
Like I gotta find myself
dun, dun.
through a series of clues. Preston eventually tries to talk to her. As Mike noted, she's like, hey, like, or she's trying to find herself and everyone's trying to get with her. And this is now amping up and really annoying the hell out of her. People are like, oh, like I want to date you and various other things. She's like, Jesus, I've been like single for like 5 seconds. Preston eventually goes up to her and is like, hey, I have this letter and, I love you. And it comes out all wrong. It's a hot mess. And she calls him basically a straight up asshole. She's like...
Is this before or after she read the letter?
This is before.
Okay.
So yeah, we're at the party. Preston's about to leave.
Yeah, it's not... I thought... so the cousin through marriage goes in for the kiss.
Right.
And then Preston sees that and then bails. He leaves the party.
He fucking bounces.
I don't think he actually talks to her, right?
So my recollection is at some point after the cousin kiss, the letter that he threw in the trash when he left, like,
that's right.
blows back and she reads it.
Yeah, sorry, I totally jumped the gun on this.
Yeah.
She is. That will be when she reads the letter. Yes. Yeah. Cousin goes in for a kiss. He sees it and like, oh my God, she's making out. I'm leaving this party. Screw this. And so he drives off and he's just done with the party. Like you think he's not coming back. He's listening to the radio. It's all Barry Manilow. And hey, we get a little surprise. The radio station highlights Barry Manilow, the man himself, live from Tokyo. You call in and he's going to answer one call. So if you've got a question, he'll answer anything. And he, I think, wants to ask him what Mandy's all about. He wants to make this kismet. He is hell-bent that there is destiny and it's going to unfold. And if he learns the secret of what, the song Mandy is all about, that this is going to unlock something and Amanda will hook up with him and... everything will be happy. So he drives to a payphone.
This is the reason why Preston is the worst, though, because he brought Denise to a party that he knew she didn't want to be at,
right,
and then left without her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I totally agree. This is in my notes as well. Like I thought it was super shitty that just like Collin said, 3 minutes into it, bye. Okay, so you've changed your mind. Go find her at the party and be like, I've decided to leave. Do you want to hang out or to ride home?
But he's a huge bitch,
so
he just bounces.
I kind of have a hunch that, for the sake of time, maybe he did look for her and then left, but since she was locked in a bathroom in a place where no one was allowed to go.
That's fair, yeah.
They also
might give him the benefit of the doubt, but...
They also did establish, like, no matter what, like, she will get a ride home and she has options. I mean, that's what she said, but, I mean... If that was true or not, who knows?
If he was her friend, he would know that she doesn't have any other friends.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so he goes to the payphone to try to call the radio station, and it works. But then fucking Dharma from Dharma and Greg, dressed as an angel, hangs up the phone.
This is my favorite moment of the movie.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dharma walks up, and she's basically wearing, I don't know, like a bikini and an angel outfit.
What is this actress's name?
Jenna Elfman.
Thank you. I actually like her quite a bit.
She's great in this cameo.
She's never been in really anything that I've cared about, but like I can't name a movie that I thought she was in. I thought was really good.
Right,
but.
I've seen her in cameos too. I totally agree with you, Mike. So I had to look her up, and the big notable things are I've seen like an episode of Dharma and Greg somewhere in my life.
Yeah. Griffendorf's Tribe.
She's also in Yeah, that's a movie that I'm willing to watch.
Yeah, hell yeah.
She's like in every episode of Fear of the Walking Dead, which I've not watched.
I've not seen
so I'm like, that's cool that she's still, it was like 70 plus episodes. It was like, cool, like you're still working, awesome. And I've seen her in cameos. I love her. This is by far my favorite moment of the movie. The favorite, story arc is Williams, but right here, I love everything that happens. So she comes out of the mists, and Preston is super weirded out, but still on the phone. And she approaches him. She's like, I've got to use the phone. He's like, well, yeah, I do too. Yeah, but I really need to use the phone. He's like, there are 2 other phones next to me. They're both broken. Okay. And as soon as this happens, Preston is connected to the radio station and is able to ask Barry Manilow a question. He's like, Barry, I want to, ask Barry this. And she overhears what's happening, immediately disconnects the payphone. Side note, I heard the quarter drop back out. That didn't seem right.
No.
But she's like, I have an emergency. He tries to shut her down like 5 times, and she shuts that shit immediately down. She calls a car or cab company and is like, or a tow truck. I don't know exactly who she calls, but she's like, my car broke down. I need a ride home, blank and blank. And I think it's a cab company. And she's like, cool, my cab's going to be here in 5 minutes. You could go back to calling Barry Manilow now at 2 a.m. And he totally freaks out. I do like, yes, he's a total wimp throughout all this, but I do understand his slight mental breakdown at this moment. Especially that you did get connected to who you
Right.
thought.
Yeah, that would be a huge bummer.
Yeah, I might freak out too. But she's like, and he's like, you come up here, and she's like, my car broke down, and, you think you're having a bad night? I'm entertaining a bunch of gentlemen who are drunken assholes, grabbing my ass, spilling drinks on me. Like, go F off, dude. And he's like, you're a stripper? She's like, I'm a dancer. And I love immediately, she's like, I don't need to explain myself to you. Like, I'm the weirdo. You're trying to call Barry Manilow at 2 a.m. from a payphone. Like, go to hell, dude. Like, you don't judge me. And then they both sit down because you could just tell, like, he's super distraught. And she kind of like takes a breath. And you could tell that she has some compassion, that this is clearly a younger, like, dude. He's like a young man. She's had a bad day. It's not his fault. Clearly he's forlorn over love. Something's happening. And she sits down. And this is why it's my favorite part. Her story, fun story. I have noted this on the side, maybe even in front of Mike before. I live her philosophy. I actually believe the philosophy she notes. And she uses a story. She goes, Preston is highlighting, it's destiny. I'm in love. She thinks it's all about Barry Manilow, but he's talking about Amanda. He's like, it's destiny. She's like, I believe in destiny. And she goes, I have this story. I loved Scott Baio, Chachi. And I prayed that he was going to come to my town one day, and he did. And I kind of understand the story she's saying. Like, I think all of us have had moments where you're like, I wish something could happen, and it just does. And you kind of knew it would. Like, I don't mean like grandiose things that I've experienced. Like, I wish I could win $1 billion in the lottery. But it was just like, I wish blank would happen. It kind of did. And it kind of just made sense. And you kind of feel it. And she notes that. She's like, it was destiny. He came to my town. I went to this mall. He was on a tour. I was the first one in line. He got out of his car, and I was the first person he saw. But I didn't say anything. And her philosophy is this: destiny totally exists, and it will bring you to places, but then you have to decide what you want to do. And I absolutely believe in that 100%. And I like that story. And then she leaves off. So you go call Barry Manilow and you tell him how you feel, and, maybe things are going to work out. It didn't for me, but, love has no bounds, buddy. And he kind of tries to explain himself, but doesn't. But it gives him the motivation to go back to the party and really talk to Amanda. But I love that story.
Yeah.
Go Scott Baio.
So what your philosophy is that you also love Scott Baio.
It is true that I would have said something, that he would have saw my headband and been like, go get him, kid.
I thought the lesson was that Paul needs to call Barry Manilow.
Yes, get him on the phone. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Barry?
And yes. All of those things.
Okay.
Well,
Real quick, it does make sense to call Barry Manilow at 2 a.m. because he is in Japan.
Right. It was advertised
Yeah.
that he was live and taking calls.
He's
the man
not just
from Tokyo.
crazy.
But I mean, the angel stripper didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she cuts him off every which way. She thinks she's fully in love. He is Preston, that is fully in love with Barry Manilow and is going to confess his feelings, and finally, real love will happen.
Well, I mean, based on the
She's
information
rooting.
that she had, she was making the right decisions.
Yeah.
She's also had a hell of a night, so
Yeah.
her assessment of everyone is probably spot on. Like, you're all crazy, and I'm going, oh.
A road-worn stripper takes precedence over some teenage bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, she made that clear by
Yeah.
hanging up that phone immediately. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but I think we're about there. Mike goes outside.
Yeah,
And
sees Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell. Yeah. And Jerry, I don't remember what his name was. He had some doofy...
Trip McNeely.
Yeah,
Trip McNeely.
Trip McNeely, you're a legend. Girls are still talking about you. Are they here? Where are they?
Yeah. Where are these girls?
Yeah.
But he fancies himself a bit of a modern Trip McNeely. And this is why he broke up with Amanda, because he thought he was going to get to college and just fucking slay puss. But Trip's like, bro, you get to college and these girls they don't want anything to do with you because you're a fucking freshman nerd.
Right.
They want to bang older dudes.
So what Mike didn't fully realize is, he's, a big fish in a small pond. And if he's going to go to college, even Jerry O'Connell says, like, we're disposable, dude. We're like a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you were dating blank and blank, some girl that Trip was dating. He's like, yeah, she's now dating a pre-med senior. Like, people are serious and they're looking at lives now. And, he's like half drunk, just drinking some beers. And Mike's world just shatters. He's like, oh my God, this was like, he doesn't say this, but you could tell. He's like, this was a huge mistake.
I've made a terrible mistake.
So he runs back in and tries to profess his love back to Amanda.
Yeah, but Amanda's read the note at this point.
Yes.
And she's taken by this note.
Yes, she reads Preston's letter.
It blows in on a tumbleweed or something.
That's where I got confused. So Preston did throw away the letter, and that's where I was jumping the gun. He throws in the trash can, but Melissa Joan Hart's yearbook was also thrown in there. She digs it out, and the letter comes out and then floats back into the party. It floats into a chip bowl. And then Amanda reads it. So Amanda's like, wow, this person really knows me. Again, Preston apparently is a good writer, so probably really did convey those emotions of why he felt this was destiny. Or at least why Amanda's special. I think that's what's more in the letter that I'm gathering watching this, that he really notes, like, you're a very special person, and this is how I've noticed this.
Like he's calling her out as an individual, not like the token girlfriend of some football jack off.
She spent all night with 100% of her interactions being like, let's fuck.
Right.
And then so if someone writes her note saying like,
hey, I value you. You seem cool.
Yeah. I like the way you eat Pop Tarts.
Yeah. Strawberry fucking Pop Tarts.
So, yeah, Mike runs in and professes his love. We should get back together. People stop playing music to hear this.
It's like the record scratch.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I don't even want to be with you. She's like, give me one reason why. I like that. She's like, what's one reason we should get together? And then immediately just goes, I don't even need one. Like, no. Like, we're never getting back together. Like, kind of highlighting, like, I don't even know why I opened the door to this. Like, no matter what your answer is, we're not getting together. And then Mike just really highlights that he's an asshole. He's like, okay, man, duh. And like, no one's even laughing at this. He's like, why? You're saying no? You're begging me to get back with you and now saying no? And everyone's like, whatever. And then they throw out the worst word and call Mike this repeatedly throughout the movie. And I wish this was edited out.
Yeah. I'm gonna call myself out as a terrible person. Like, I still got a chuckle out of it. I know that's terrible. But he's at his lowest, and then some dude's like, derp, and he's like, oh, fuck.
Dude, it came totally out of left field.
Yeah, it did. And I would, clearly I'm not saying the word now, I never would. But it still got a chuckle out of me. I'm sorry.
But
you can cancel me forthwith.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he wanders off. He gets just blasted drunk.
Yeah.
William Lichter sees some of this.
With the Lichter.
Lichter, he barely knows her.
Hey!
Well, yeah, William Lichter does see some of this. I think I skipped over that William Lichter has also been having a fantastic night.
Did we skip over the karaoke?
Yeah, I think there's karaoke was before the bathroom confessions, which is before that
makes sense,
scene.
Yeah, so William Lichter hears some Guns N' Roses playing.
Well, to set the scene, the band Love Burger.
You know you love Love Burger.
they broke up. They hadn't played a gig yet. This was their first one, I think. They broke up over a T-shirt dispute.
Yeah.
And a cowboy hat
And
issue.
dressing like Lestat.
And dressing like Lestat, yeah. Well, it's hard, you know. I mean, in my band, we have a very firm no hat policy.
What about dressing like Lestat? Because that seems like on brand.
I think secretly that's what Billy wants us to do.
Nice.
But he won't say.
Are you guys going to get puffy shirts?
Yeah.
What about wigs?
Yeah.
Nice.
Powdered wigs.
Barrister wigs.
Yeah. We're just going to dress like British lawyers. Yeah. But so the band breaks up. They're like, you know what? We don't fucking need this. And then some metal dude, like a heavy metal guy, not like Robo Mike from downtown. He shows up with a boombox. He's like, I'm going to fucking get this party started. Paradise City.
Yeah. And William
Lichter's into it.
Yeah, he awakens. Like, I love this scene. He's like he's so drunk, and he just like comes to, he's like, some guy used to tutor and kind of bullied me. He used to play this song all the time, and he just goes up there and starts singing the song while this weird dude in the boombox is playing air guitar. And a crowd of what looks like, honestly, like 80 people show up. People are loving it. William Lichter is crowd surfing. Two girls are fighting over him in the crowd. After the song is done, both girls try to go and make out with him in the makeup room. One girl is shut out while another girl jumps in, and two girls are there. People love this. My absolute favorite William Lichter moment is this. He is singing Paradise City. A crowd forms as I know. A girl gets on this guy's back, flashes William Lichter, and he passes out for a second, jumps back in the air, and someone simultaneously throws him a microphone. There's like whoever filmed this scene, this is an award-winning scene. There's a cut really quickly of the music. So there's like a pause. He passes out, jumps up, the microphone is thrown to him. He catches it, looks at it for a second, and then boom, right on cue, right back to the song. It was amazing.
I noted that too. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
Yeah. And then, all these girls are making out with him.
Yeah.
So now we see Mike Lichter after makeout session, super drunk again. He's actually feeling sad for Mike Dexter. It is a reason I do like William here. He shouldn't have gone this way, but his sympathy and empathy break him a bit. And he's like, hey, man, these girls want to make out in the pool house. Like, it's going to be cool. And they all make up. Mike actually apologizes numerous times to William. I'm sorry I was a jerk to you. I'm sorry I did this. And one was like, remember I like beat you up and did this? I'm sorry, when was that? And he's like, it was this morning. It was, in the morning of graduation. So they get super drunk, and then the nerds on the rooftop jump him.
Yeah, they don't know that it's... Mike Dexter's going to go to the pool house, and Lichter's like, oh, fuck, I got to stop him. Doesn't get there in time. They both get jumped. The nerds strip him down, put like clown noses on their nips.
Yeah, take off their shirt.
Yeah.
Take a bunch of weird Polaroids.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's some weird call out to Heathers. It might be.
Maybe.
But yeah, then they're abandoned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things kind of simultaneously happening, so we could have gone like in multiple directions here.
Sure.
So like this kind of runs its course, but like 10 minutes before this, we also get Seth Green and Denise. They had sex in the bathroom after talking to one another. I do like this. Some of their talking, I think this is the importance of I don't know how to phrase this. This is kind of the importance of the film. I think this is what maybe the movie was striving a little more to have, a little more of that Breakfast Club connection, where they're going through their histories together. Like, we were kids, we knew each other, and then all of a sudden, high school separated us. We were in different cliques. You were a little cooler or weirder. Denise doesn't talk to anyone. But they also break it down, she also makes Seth Green talk in a more normalized voice.
Right. Well, that was her whole thing. She's like, we were like homies. And then you got to high school and you started wearing goggles and talking like a moron.
Right. And like trashing my locker and
right,
stuff like this, like outwardly mean. But he breaks down. They do have sex. And then immediately also, I do kind of like the writing here. It's awkward. So they have sex. There's like no nudity or anything like this. But immediately after the sexual situation, they both feel kind of awkward about it. And they both immediately turn on one another. And I don't know if I want to say this is realistic, but this is an interesting turn. He immediately goes back to his way of talking, and this is like when he says like, sorry if you couldn't handle the flavor or you weren't bringing it, and she's like, you're such an asshole.
The flavor was pretty strong.
Yeah, so I think they're both like kind of into each other, but then they had sex and they don't know what to think. It seems like a realistic moment. Well, the owner of the house breaks open the door and is like, what the hell are you doing in my bathroom? Get the hell out. Also note simultaneously, the cops are raiding the entire house at this point in time.
Yeah, well, and kind of, again, like, there's many simultaneous things happening. What's it, Heathen Embry? What's his fucking...
Yeah, so again, 10 minutes
Preston.
before the cops in, so yeah, Preston,
yeah, he goes back to the party, like, runs into... So... Jennifer Love Hewitt has been trying to figure out who wrote this letter by asking people, and everyone's like, "Yeah, he's like a dude. Like he has hair. He's like the height of a
that was
person."
Jason Segel, and the other guy.
Yeah.
So you're saying he's a dude with hair and he wears clothes. Sometimes he wears shirts. Sometimes he does.
So she doesn't know who he is, and so he runs in, and he kind of professes his love to her
after the Mike situation. After like three other guys are like, "You want to hook up sometime?"
Yeah, after the Mike thing, like everyone's like, let's bone. She's like, no. So she's totally on edge. It was bad timing, and she's like, who the fuck are you? Like, why is everyone trying to fuck me right now? Like, everyone,
you're an asshole.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I do like some guy comes out of nowhere and goes right to Preston. He goes, "Hey man, congratulations. That was the funniest thing I've seen all night." He just walks off.
So now he's all fucking butthurt.
And he's done. Yeah,
he's done. He leaves for good.
The party fizzles out. The cops
the cops
there.
busted up. Everyone runs.
Yeah, and the night's pretty much over.
Well, the one last thing that does happen, Melissa Joan Hart with her goddamn yearbook.
Yep.
Jennifer Love Hewitt's like, yeah, I'll fucking sign that. Takes it, looks up who Preston is, realizes that he's the dude she just told to go get fucked, and is now like, okay, I gotta find
whoops.
him. Whoopsie.
I mean,
picked a whole bouquet of whoopsie daisies.
But she totally called him out, though, right? Because
no, she was right.
They totally set this up. Her line was like, "You imagine that we shared some intimate moment that you've probably been drooling over for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
How deluded are you?"
The fucking Pop Tart thing, and the answer is very deluded.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's true. Like he's like, "I love you." Like that was the opening line.
Right.
Like,
You've talked to me once, bro.
Yeah, she didn't know who he was.
Right. Yeah. That's why Preston sucks.
But then, so that's kind of where I lost it. It's like, why did she keep going for him after this then?
Because she didn't.
the letter.
The letter. It was the letter.
And then she found out
Because she's a moron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone notes that as she's investigating at the party that he's a sweet soul, he's a good writer.
Oh yeah,
like,
everyone is speaking very highly.
yeah,
of him.
like he's like a really cool guy. Like you didn't know who this guy was. Like he's so nice. Like
He's just so nondescript. No one knows what he fucking looks like.
So
Even
now-
though he's wearing like a Sergeant Pepper jacket for some reason.
But now we're at the next morning. Everyone's basically at a diner. The cops arrived and took Mike and William down to a holding cell, but everyone else is kind of now going to diners, parking lots, various other things. I don't really understand the timeline here. So I thought Preston was like, I'm going to this conference. It'll be like a month or a week's.
Right.
Okay, cool. So now you're in like the middle of June. You come back. You still have the rest of the summer with all these people. Like I'm not under the impression he's going to this writers conference, then immediately going to college. Like he even packs like 2 small bags.
That wasn't super clear, but
Right.
I mean, I guess plot wise it didn't need to be.
Well, he says goodbye to Denise, and she's like,
Yeah.
I've hooked up with Kenny. He's like, are you dating? She's like, I don't know. Maybe. Yes, I don't know. It's very confusing. Kenny has whipped cream on his face like he's a child, and he's looking through the diner window. I love you, Seth Green.
That was pretty good.
And he waves. And then Preston leaves. He's like, I'm going to go to the train station, good luck with everything. That's why I'm like, why are you saying it like this? You'll probably see him in a few weeks. Like, if you're truly best friends, he's going to absolutely see you. Maybe not everyone else, but he'll
Right.
see you.
You can spend 4 years writing someone you haven't talked to a letter, and you can't write your best friend.
Right.
Right,
Also,
yeah.
email does exist at this point in time. It's 1998. Like, you don't
Yeah.
even have to do that. I mean, it's your best friend. Like, good God. But okay.
Yeah.
Aside from that, he leaves. He's in theory done. We get some wrap ups. So now most people are at a diner, but let's go to the holding cell.
Oh, with Lichter?
Yeah. So William Lichter wakes up. Mike is not there, and an officer walks in. He's like, "Your parents are here. I'm gonna let you go." He's like, "Oh my God, my parents! They're gonna freak out. Are my parents distraught? Are they even talking? What's happening?" He's like, "Well, Mike confessed that he bullied you, got you forcefully, made you drink, And that's why you got drunk and you had to take off your clothes. Your parents are just concerned. He's like, oh, Mike said that? Yeah, that's really funny. Haha, you know Mike. And he's like, man, we're friends. Like, this guy took the rap. Cool, awesome. So he's let go. Now kind of everyone's at the diner. We kind of find out what happens to everyone. There's a bit of an epilogue that everyone gets. So I guess we could go through that really quickly. So William goes to talk to Mike and his friends, and Mike is a huge asshole and says some really shitty things to him, like you're a big nerd and blah, blah, blah. And it goes on that, you know, they can never be friends. Mike never really changed, but he did change enough to get him out of jail and stuff like that.
Right. Like, he's grown as a person, but he's keeping up his outward appearances as a jock.
And it's clearly,
Dipshit.
he's going to get his comeuppance because, as we find out in the epilogue, Mike loses his scholarship in football. He's fired from the car wash that he works at, and that's pretty much his life story. William Lichter develops some software and is dating a supermodel and is super rich. He has millions and millions of dollars.
He's basically Bill Gates. Apparently.
Melissa Joan Hart, we see, hooks up with the friend that talks about throwing up in the backpack and all the old stories because they're sentimental saps together, so they seem to work. Denise and Kenny break up 5 minutes after we see them, and then 10 minutes later in the epilogue, it's noted that they hook up in the bathroom and they're back together, so everything's good. And that's kind of where we're at. We just see Preston at the train station. He's about to leave. He's going to, again, this writer's workshop led by R.I.P. Kurt Vonnegut. And, you know, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up and's like, hey, I got in touch with your dad. I read your letter. Like, I'm totally into you. I am overall okay with part of how this could end. If it was, let's stay in touch. Let's write together. And she's like, as Mike said it, she contradicts everything she says. Like, I want to find myself and blah, blah, blah. And she's straight up like, oh, I want to like hook up with you and be your girlfriend. Like, she says that without like saying those exact words. He's like, but I'm going to this conference. She's like, oh, I guess that fate didn't bring us this far. And then he drops all of his bags, runs after. He's like, I could take a later train. And then we learn that they hit it off. He takes a train like 10 hours later or whatever. So he takes it that night, and they write each other a letter for every day he's gone, and they're still together today.
Yeah. You know, one way to look at her perspective at the end of it is, because, I mean, you're right, like, not in so many words did she say that. That's what we as the audience infer. But, like, maybe she just wanted to, like, she wanted to know who wrote this letter. It was very meaningful and impactful to her. She just wanted to put a face to it and, like, understand the person who understood who she felt understood her.
Yeah, but she says like weird things as he's like, when I gotta go ahead to train, she's like, well, that's a shame.
That's a shame. Yeah, I mean, like, it's poorly written, but like, I think the meaning.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There.
Like, that's why I like half of it. Like, I wish it was like if the epilogue was through a series of letters in the next couple of weeks, they became closer. When he came back over the summer, they did something. It should have been that instantaneous.
No, I 100% agree.
Because it was like, I was in a relationship for 4 years. Then 10 hours later, I want to be in one with you. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, even in high school, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was goofy.
Yeah, that should have been fixed up a little at the end.
Yeah.
Or maybe she could, like, you know, write a phone number down and be like, hey, call me when you get there.
Right. Yeah. Literally many options to.
There are no more options.
Infinite options -1.
Well, they hook up, and then the very last scene is you see the two nerdy guys walking around, and a UFO picks them up, and that's the end of their story. Well, before we get into our final overview of Can't Hardly Wait from 1998, as always, feel free to reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If there is a movie that you think would be interesting or we should talk about or any of these things, let us know. We would love to hear from you. We love you all. And thanks for listening. Thanks for writing to us. Thanks for writing on social media, various other things, which leads us to also hit us up at rabbittroopsucks.com, our webpage. Some of the newer episodes are there. Links to other episodes and all of the episodes in full are there. Pictures, links to merchandise, various other things. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Again, thanks for rating us at all these places.
Yeah. Oh, on the website, you can now listen to all of our episodes.
Heck yeah.
So in case you're like an old neophyte that doesn't have a fucking phone or whatever, and you want to listen to this on a web browser, now you can. All of them.
You do it.
The whole thing.
Unbelievable.
I know.
You don't even need that small child's hand anymore.
Wow.
Guiding you.
You don't need a small child's hand to guide.
Severed.
So, okay.
It's like the monkey claw grants wishes.
I see.
1998, Can't Hardly Wait. What did you all think about this?
Go for it.
I I overall liked the movie, even though I kind of feel like it's a handbook on how not to be a friend.
Sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of if this is a movie you decide to watch, I wouldn't probably put it on the background. I would sit and watch it. There are so many like visual gags and background stuff going on that really make this movie overall like really pretty funny.
Shermanator steals a gumball machine at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, Shermanator is good. There's like a guy climbing up a rope and he slides down at some point later. Like there's a bunch of quirky stuff going on, and it makes the movie like really enjoyable to watch. Don't focus too much on the characters.
Yeah.
They all kind of suck. The side characters is usually kind of fun. The jocks, the friends of Mike, I thought were pretty good. They kind of abandoned him immediately.
Oh yeah.
And they opt for teenage things instead of broing down. Overall, for a movie like this, I really liked it.
What'd you think, Mike?
Yeah, I kind of same. Like, none of the characters were likable or relatable to me. I mean, with the exception of William Lichter. Yeah, like I didn't like anybody. I wasn't rooting for anybody. This movie takes place over the course of a party, so like maybe 4 hours. I mean, with the exception of like the opening scene and the ending scene, there's not a lot of character development. This movie is just like a collection of short instances, many of which are pretty funny. Like, this isn't a good movie, but it's like I actually kind of like this. It's fun to watch. There's a lot of fun, wacky stuff happening. Colin's right. A lot of like the stuff that's happening in the background to the side. There's a lot of good throwaway lines. Like, it's just kind of a fun movie. Like, again, I don't relate to this at all. I don't like anybody in it, but it's fun.
Yeah. I think if you cut out any individual storyline and cut the movie down by like the 20 minutes, it would be the same. Like,
For sure.
the appeal would be the same.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you guys. Like, is this movie amazing? No. I mean, again, all of you graduating or did graduate or taking a summer break, this movie's totally for you. This leads right into summer movie watching. My two favorite characters, as I said before, actor Charlie Korsmo plays William Lichter. I thought it was super cool that this is like his last role as an actor. I thought it would be like super fun to do. Like a huge depart from like what he did in Hook and, Dick Tracy and What About Bob, movies like that. I just think he has a cool backstory in real life. I kind of want to reach out to this guy and see if he would just even give us like a note about any of his films. Maybe I will.
We got street cred now, man.
Yeah. So Charlie, we're
cred.
Yeah.
Charlie, we're gonna write you in some capacity. We just think you have a storied, cool life. And that's really cool that this was your last role. Jenna Elfman, you are my favorite character in this movie. Your whole cameo, as I said, is a philosophical like roadmap of my life. I truly believe some of what was said there, even though put into a comical context. I think this movie's a lot of fun, especially if you're going to watch with a couple people, have in the background. This movie's super 90s, fun soundtrack.
A lot of Smash Mouth.
Yeah, I wish that was rolled out a little. But, I mean, this movie's great to put on the background, too. Like, if you're doing something and this movie's on the background, you're going to hear some fun one-liners, some goofy things, and some fun music. So, yeah, I definitely would recommend this movie. Coming up next, God, do I recommend this movie. So, from 2007, our next episode, Hot Rod, Mike. Hot Rod. Mike and I...
So stoked.
Mike and I have watched Hot Rod together probably, I would say, at least 8 times.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Hot Rod's a shorter movie. It clocks in just a couple minutes under an hour and 30. It's so much fun. Yeah. What is their group? Andy Samberg's group?
Lonely Island.
Yeah, Lonely Island.
Yorma Taccone, am I saying that right?
I don't know.
Oh, the other Lonely Island guy?
Yeah.
He's in this and I think wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, so totally watch. I mean, Danny McBride's in this. Will Ferrell, I think, is a producer of this.
Ian McShane is in this is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Collin, have you not seen Hot Rod?
Not in its entirety. I've definitely seen a bunch of clips. And I love Andy Samberg. So.
Shout out to our friend Rami. We're totally going to be watching Hot Rod together. I recommend you watch Hot Rod together. It's a fun movie and so bizarre. It's like an extended SNL skit gone right. I say that because some of these SNL movies, you're just like, ooh, maybe the charm is worn off. But this is a tight movie for an hour and a half. But yeah, we'll hit you up with some Hot Rod. Wear your fake mustaches. Summon your spirit animals. My spirit animal is the wolf. So
Dolphin.
You'll learn about flaming buses and why not to do acid, and getting ice skates close to your eye. Yeah. So a lot of weird things are gonna happen. Hot Rod. Starting off some summer fun. Graduates, awesome graduation. And if you're taking a break from school, watch some summer movies and listen to our podcast. Anything anyone wants to say?
Shut your hole.
Shut your hole.
Stop. You guys got to stop wasting my flavor.
Oh yeah, Collin's gonna be coming out with a line of clothing and
Collin's flavor. Yeah.
You can buy my flavor, but you can't waste my flavor.
No, just coming soon to Kmart, maybe.
What? What?
That's where his clothing line is going to be dropping.
We can't upgrade that.
No.
Oh.
Big lots.
Flavor. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Flavor.